Thanks about the blue. I'm sad because over the past couple months, I've really woken up to how little people care about one another. I've cared very poorly, not to the point where I'm willing to throw someone out. I was willing to push myself in my life as far as I could, and it had a lot more to do with self doubt than anything. I wanted to know who I really was. It's rational that when everyone around me is saying you're this, you're that, you don't have good intentions, whatever, I say, okay, well, I guess I'm going to have to find out. So I pushed as hard as I could and I gave as much as I could. When push comes to shove, I'm not willing to throw anyone out. I found out who I am. I don't yet even know what it cost me, but I know my heart, and why I'm sad is to know, it's to not know, is that after all of it, I don't have the answer. What hurts is after all of it, I can't know for sure about anyone else but myself. And so I know others' intentions and I know their actions and this and that. But when it comes down to it, I can't know the depth of their heart. I can't know, is someone hurting me because they're hurt? And when I say that, I mean people will hurt us because they're hurt, even when their intentions are bad. Sometimes they'll have poor intentions because they're hurt. What I sought to understand and what I still seek to understand, and I pray one day that I can know the difference, is are there people who hurt others because they're hurt? I mean, that part I know. Are there people out there who hurt others, whether or not they hurt, but because they're bad people? Is there corruption in the heart of a person? And now I'm back to church and I'm a Roman Catholic. And in our religion, it does say that sin is at the heart of man. And I want to believe that. But I know at my core, I know who I am. And so, for most of all, what I seek out more than to find out if others are corrupt is where is my corruption? If that's the truth, I want to know where my corruption is. And if it's at my core, well, where is my core? And although so many have sought to see or say that I am extrospective and that I judge others, it has been seeking judgment of myself. I've wanted to know, who am I? And although I've committed to poor behavior and I've had bad intentions, it has always been because of hurt. It's always been because of hurt, as opposed to um, that deep down I want to hurt others or hurt myself or anything like that. And so, although I am a Catholic, I want to know, I'm coming for the truth. I say, okay, well, where is this corruption in my heart? I have to know where it is. I have to know where it is. I have to know what it is. In order to do that, I will continue to seek to understand the depths of our heart in a way that clearly most others have not sought out. And I don't know what I'm going to find. And I don't know if it's even there. As I sit here, what I tell myself is that there is no corruption in the heart of man, but that is against my own religion. And as I sit here, most of the Catholic religion has really done well for me, and it has kept me on my feet. And even when people within my own religion have been sacrilegious and destructive towards my life, God the Father, and I would say Our Lady or Mother Earth, however have you. I know there's a female spirit out there too, as I've caught the essence, and it's more than just the Holy Spirit. And so I sit here and I say, well, what's the reality? And I only have the essence of the reality. I might have my facts. And as I fought through the hardest of times and the hardest of people, And some of the most intelligent people you could think of have tried to bring me down. And what I've discovered is even they, for the most part, it comes down to hurt. Seeking to hurt me has come down to their own pain, as opposed to um, even the agendas that they think they have. If you really look at who they are, they're often broken. They're people who may have a lot of financial pull or power. But something I've learned about this life that is most of us are in very heavy denial of, and I mean a large portion of humanity, is that power does not equal authority. And that authority comes through wisdom as opposed to knowledge or power. And knowledge can be abused for power, but that doesn't mean it's wisdom, because as soon as that knowledge is abused, there's no wisdom in abuse. Abusive behavior is a senile and infantile behavior. You've seen it from me, you've seen it from others, and it's not a mature behavior to commit to. So I'm looking to find the truth. And as so many others are looking for the truth when it comes to me, the truth is really simple. And a lot of you have looked far too wide and not deep enough. I invite you to look deeper with me as I continue to sort out what has happened to me, what I've done, what not, and also to continue to pursue the answers in this life and what's out there that goes further than just us. There's a lot of people who really want to keep that quiet. And I don't know if by the time I find those things in life, I'll be able to share them with you or not. What I can tell you is that I, as like, I feel that I've had to fight far too hard to figure out life. Far too hard. There are still a lot of people in my life and in my past who say to me, you've had too many chances, or, so many things that you've seen. And they fail to recognize just how far behind I was to start. And we have to ask ourselves, how many chances do we give someone before we decide that they're not worth it? I will venture to surmise, not assume or guess, that most of the people who have written me off and said I'm not worth the next chance didn't get nearly as many chances themselves, or there came a point where someone says, you're not allowed another chance. You're not allowed to have more. And as I sit here as a Roman Catholic, I also have a lot of very forgiving attitudes towards the way that I've been treated, and also, an apologetic attitude for the way that I've treated others. And life's very simple, but we tend to overcomplicate it by looking for things that aren't there instead of looking for the things that are. I've met a lot of people who talk about facts, but they mostly speak on opinion. And even so, take it all the way down to speaking on statistical data and then calling that fact. That's a very dangerous thing to do. That is weaponizing information, because statistical data, it's not opinion, but it's not necessarily fact, because those statistics, at least depending on what we're talking about, can change. And based on that change, it will shift and alter the perception. And the statistical data is massively against me. It is very much out of my favor in reference to my own name and my own life. That doesn't decide fact. And most people at this point have been willing to settle for everyone else's version of my story. What I've learned is that my story is so complex that in order to tell my story, I must become more educated on what happened to me and the things that people have done to tell my story for me. I don't know if I have time for that or not, but I will continue to seek out building my life and becoming educated on how to tell that. And although there might be a lot of you out there who think that me focusing on me and my story is narcissistic or self-centered, please understand that I'm seeking to understand my story and then convey it to you for two reasons, two main reasons, neither of which have anything to do with my ego. Number one, there's a lot that has happened to me that most people cannot ascertain. And I can tell that by the way they're treating the situation. And the average person would call that a delusion. But we currently in our society have many people who are considered trained professionals, whether it is with a PhD or a college degree or a master's. And knowledge may equal power, but it does not equal authority or wisdom. And we're putting fools in positions of power and then calling them our authorities. And this has gone into the realm of mental health, which becomes a very, very dangerous thing because there are more intelligent people who are then weaponizing the area of mental health for their own benefit. And we're talking very negative and very selfish agendas. And so with every time that science comes out with a new subject, you might call it, that we deepen our understanding of something, there's always an opportunity for someone else to corrupt it or use it poorly. I was writing off the entire area of mental health because I hadn't done my research. I hadn't done my homework. And although I may have been right about me, it doesn't change that I've been wrong about others. And so I've been doing a lot of work on educating myself on how it works and how others work. And how do I sort through and sift through what's important and what's not? And I don't have all that for you yet. And once again, I don't know how long I'll have, but I will continue to try to sort through it and figure it out because it is a very abused industry and people are using the area of mental health to manipulate, destroy, and then silence their enemies, people they don't like. And mental health is supposed to be just that, the area of mental health. It is meant to be within the realm of healthcare. And this goes into cancer research. This goes into so much. And so many of you know this. And it doesn't go into conspiracy when you've lived it. And instead of looking to attack the bad guys, it's time for us to see that when we attack the bad guys, they're just going to come up with another plan. Well, we're so distracted trying to fool the bad guy or stop the bad guy, we end up fooling ourselves. But when we focus on the good guys and make sure that we stay or become the good guys, as opposed to just be embarrassed about our mistakes or this or that, I have my own embarrassments. I put them right on screen. I've done so because I know the only way I'm going to get ahead in my life is by owning what I've done as quickly as I can and then getting forward. What I'm getting through is a trap that I fell into based on people who wanted to make me their enemies, get me to focus on them, is falling into the past and being drugged into the past. I'm learning that I have to talk about the past by education within the present. And the best way to do that and integrate that process is by going and having these conversations on Twitter. And when someone presents a legitimate issue, a legitimate problem, a legitimate conversation, to acknowledge that. But when it is something that is totally fabricated, that I put it down and put it away and say, hey, I don't have time for this. And I've given a lot of time to ideas and information that are completely false and stories that are untrue. And I'm learning that I do control my own narrative regardless. And when I'm irresponsible with my own story and I let it fall apart, whether it is through me losing confidence or whether it is through me giving attention to those who don't deserve the attention, that is my traffic. That is my people. That is, someone said that to me today, is that it's my people. And I'm beginning to acknowledge and recognize that I've been irresponsible in more than just my own life. And I've been in the belief that my own platform, my own influence, and my own traffic through my platform, through my account, doesn't belong to me. And that's the truth. It doesn't. It belongs to Twitter. I've been very ungrateful. I'm learning to respect the power and make sure to only grant authority where it is requested, because I've also been accusatory towards Twitter that they are seeking out authority that doesn't belong to them or power that doesn't belong to them. And as I sit here, I have $0 or what have you, right? That just prospectively in reference to the company of Twitter. And I have just been so out of my depth. And although I do understand a much bigger piece of it than I did before, I'm seeing that even sitting here now, I still know so few people. I've spoken to a lot of people. I've gotten to know, at least I thought, a lot of people. I'm learning that I can't truly get to know people when they are withholding information or data or personality, their personality. What do I really know, right? I've been fooled by a lot of people who decided to lie to me, most in suspicion that I was lying to them. And I'm seeing now that there were a lot of people, even from the beginning, who had helped me, who from the beginning, even when they were helping me, thought that I was lying. And seeing now years later, I never had a chance with building those friendships or making those connections because the doubt was there to begin with. And it's very disappointing. It's much more hurtful than I'm going to show you. For the sake of my own mental health, I will step away and maybe I'll have a cry. I've learned that I have to be responsible with my emotions in the public, because to me, when someone's crying, it says, okay, not necessarily that they need help or that there's a problem or even to feed into it, but just to listen. And me sharing my emotions on social media, the goal was always to seek out someone to listen. It started with my confidence. I was confident in the beginning. And then I thought people were not listening because of whatever excuse, as opposed to my inability to communicate the ideas that I was seeking out to communicate. Those ideas haven't changed. I still know the same stuff I did then. There were a lot of people who helped me to forget it and get me distracted. But as it comes back to me, I'm finding a better way to communicate the lessons that need to be learned within my own life and within society, and learning how to convey them in a way that's more responsible. And I don't want to tell a story the way that the media tells a story, and that's not disrespect to the media. It's not. It's not my way of doing things, and I don't mean that narcissistically. As I said, it's a different way. I don't want to teach what I have to say through a parable. I don't want to tell what I have to say through a story, and I don't want to tell what I have to say through politics. I want to be able to simply tell the truth, even if instead of tailing the truth, I want to simply be able to expel the information in a way that communicates what I have to say in a way that as many people can understand as possible, also without repeating myself. And on top of that, I don't want anyone to be aborted or lost in the process. I have had so many people throw me out or try to throw me out because they don't like what I have to say. And then I've done the same to them as I've cut them out. And although I can't have anyone in my personal life right now because there are a lot of people who are suspicious of me or are scared of me or do not understand that I'm just smart and I'm not scary, I'm learning how to communicate that better and also make sure that my intentions and my actions line up, because I've had issues in the past with people saying that they have poor intentions with me or they're doing it poorly. Well, so have I been. I want to live up to my own standard. I'm done making excuses for others or patronizing others. Now, whenever I'm being tagged in real life, whether with on Twitter, you're going to get an answer from me. So be careful what you wish for, because I have become much more educated on this subject. And I'm not going to ream you out. And the more you test my feelings, the more that I will seek out the stability of my emotions. You're challenging me. I take the challenge within myself as something to build my health through patience, understanding, and recognizing those deceptions. But also recognizes I do believe in equality. And equality means whether you are a man or a woman. If you are coming at me, I will have a response for you. That response, I will make it as socially appropriate as possible, but recognize when you challenge someone, especially in the era of equality, is you're going to receive equality. We live in a society where a woman can punch a man in the face, but if he punches back, it's called sexism or abuse. And it's time that we recognize that If we're going to ask for equality, it means equality, all the way from up to down. I don't believe that there are all that many people truly fighting for equality. It seems like there's a lot of people fighting for excuses and claiming equality. I'm not one of them. In ancient times, there were warrior women. they didn't care if you were a man or not. They would punch you in the face, right? And in today's world, we need to recognize that that standard is just the same, whether you're man or woman. That's how it goes. But there were a lot of people that really set a double standard for me. And then when push came to shove and it became a matter of equality, all of a sudden I was being unequal. And it became war. And then I was told that I was an abuser and that I was treating someone unequally. Or that I was, as I said, abusive. That's a double standard. And that is a trap. So for me, I'm very disappointed in society itself for training me and teaching me about equality, which you did. And then I went and I implemented it literally because that's how I take things. That's appropriate. When someone says, hey, this is how it is, that's how you're supposed to take it. It's under the air of honesty and transparency. And so I received that information honestly and transparently. And then I went and I lived it. Now I see that that's not what people meant. I also see I do not have a mental illness or a learning disability. I don't really have issues in that department. It's trust. I mean, people should be, I'm sorry, call me delusional, but I think it's wrong that people think it's wrong that I trust people so easily. We should be able to trust people that easily. The issue is with society, not me. And that's not narcissism to say that it is the right thing to be able to trust people more easily. Society has the issue that we are not putting ourselves in positions that we can trust each other more easily. We should be able to trust people. And as I sit here, it's not narcissism to still say I don't have the problem. It is narcissistic to say that after all this, after all I've seen and learned, and the rights and the wrongs and this and that I come out on the other side and they say, okay, well, here's what I have. And I'm told because of the past that I'm a narcissist right now, and not that I listened to the advice that I was given from the people who then flipped around and called me a narcissist. And I mean that. There's no strong arm here. I am a living example of what happens when people give bad advice with their own selfish intentions. I trusted you. Some of you let me down, some of you didn't. I let some of you down, I didn't some of you. I'm still standing here making up for my mistakes. Granted enough time, maybe it's an opportunity to educate society and actually bring an equal world that doesn't come through belligerence and attacks. And I will receive whatever attacks I have to receive to settle this and bring things back to an equilibrium, because this isn't healthy for anyone. And attacking one another is destroying our world, not helping it. And even if it works for you on a financial agenda, think about your children, because what you're not counting on is the long game. How about 2, 3, 4 decades from now? This kind of behavior kills people. Kills people. Yes, there are 8 billion of us. Are you counting on all of us staying here forever with that attitude? It's not going to work. So I may not see the entirety of society. I definitely don't. I know, based on how much people have kept me out of the loop, I would say that I know 12 people, 24 people tops. And that's really disappointing for me, having dealt with as many people as I've dealt with. And while I let them in, they left me out, not counting on that I would always be in their corner. I'm in everyone's corner all the time. It's who I am. The best way to win is by being in everyone's corner as much as you can be. And no, I don't care what anyone says, it's counting on society, but counting on humanity. Because what is the building worth or the money worth if there's no person to live in it? We're putting other things before ourselves. And so it's actually a very healthy version of selfishness, where narcissism is, hey, I'm going to live and you're going to die. And that attitude just kills everybody. In the long term, everybody dies. So I know I'm talking existential and I'm getting all big, but it's because I know I'm small. It's just humility. And people are looking at that like narcissism, and that doesn't make any sense. In any world, that makes no sense. And I like making sense. I like making dollars. I bet you do too. And hurting others to make dollars, it doesn't make sense. That's my spiel. I know there are a lot of people that are confused right now. People have been telling me they're confused and I didn't believe them because I thought they were bad people. I didn't know they really were just that confused. So I think some people are. I don't think everyone is, but why do I keep talking about narcissists? Because I have been at the center of their universe even until now. I just can't get away from them. They're the ones that need the help the most. That's why. Guys, it is the people that it is the worst of the worst that we are throwing out that are the ones who have the solutions. And they are also all pretty much just bad because from childhood they were written off and then thrown away. And then they end up bad people. And I'm not going to become a bad person, but I'm also not going to write off the worst of the worst because whether or not you like it, the worst of the worst found their way into my life and tried to manipulate and destroy me. What they didn't count on was that I love and care about everyone and that I learned a lot from them that they didn't try to teach me. And what I learned was that it is these worst people that have some of the greatest answers about life. They just implement them poorly in a way that's destructive to themselves and others. They have a lot of great ideas and a lot of great plans, but they're using those plans to protect themselves as opposed to sharing them with society. And that is the toppling of a lot of negative things that are coming out of society right now, right? It's a lot of information and power that is being shifted over to people that are much more responsible. And I'm not looking to facilitate that change because I don't want to mess with the bad guys. I don't need the drama. Just don't kill the messenger, because that's a lot of what's been happening is I'm much more of a messenger of this information than I am the one trying to implement it and get power for myself. And people have been treating me like I'm looking to run the world and I don't have the capabilities of doing that to begin with. So clearly, I'm just looking to convey things back and forth between people who don't want to even talk to each other and treat each other like they don't exist. No, I'm not going to save us. That's the point I'm making. I'm not looking to save anybody. I'm looking to say, hey, this one knows that, this one knows this, and maybe you guys can get along better. I'm not the one saving anybody. You got to save yourself. I'm just trying to trade information. Here's what I'm finding. Most of the people, okay, all of the people who have suggested, and yes, I have kept tabs, anyone who has suggested for me to get mental help as if I need it, don't have it for themselves. I'm just making a point here. On top of that, anyone who does have it and has mentioned anything in that direction are not being seen by a legitimate professional. As I've said, the standard of the industry is very low right now, and most average professionals are not professional. They're borderline amateur. And I have been trusting those people with my mental health for almost 2 decades. Stepping away and educating myself, I have become more healthy than any of them have ever tried to make me. That's just me. It, like I said, is me being healthy exposes a part of the industry that some bad people are making a lot of money. And so locking me up and making me nuts and then putting me away is a very easy way to make that disappear. It's not really my problem either way. And I'm really annoyed that they tried to step into my life as if I give a crap about, like, I don't care about their agendas. It's not my business. It's not my problem. and I would really like to just get on with it. And people are like, okay, well then you just do that. The point is that the whole point is that I have to share things with you. The whole point is like, how am I supposed to get forward without you? That's the whole idea. You're like, okay, well then you just do that and then we'll listen. That's narcissism. You're not listening at all. That's kind of the point. And you're trying to tell me that I'm not listening to you as if popularity bias means this is the truth. And there is no just this. This is something that has to do with statistical data. There is no facts here when it comes to the mental health area. There's no facts. It's opinionated and statistical. And the statistics are out of favor in reference to my mental health when you have the data that I have on my side of the screen. You're not accounting for my intelligence. You're telling me that I'm just not smart because I disagree with you. That's narcissism. You don't have the data. That matters, and it makes a huge difference. You have opinions and videos and he said, she said, and a whole bunch of drama and lies. And then a couple things that I did that have to do with being shoved down and having my head put under the water. And then I lift it up for half a second. I go, and people say, he made a noise. He's the bad guy. Watch out. And you don't know how far down I was shoved. I was more than 6 feet under. And there's a lot of people that have guilt in that right now, some of you included. And you just want to bury me the rest of the way because you want to deny how you treated a human being or demonize me because there's no way you could be guilty. It's not a matter of that being the judgment. I'm not making a judgment call on your entire personality. I am making an evaluation on how you treated my human life. Nothing more than that. But when I question your authority on how you treated me, that's wrong. I know I treated you poorly. I've apologized. I'm sorry. You are now all exposed as the narcissists because there have been no apologies for how I've been treated. I've gotten better. I've moved on with my life. I'm doing much greater things. And most of the people who have shoved my head under the water and told me that I'm drowning myself and that I'm crazy have zero apologies and are only trying to bury the hatchet the rest of the way. You're exposed. Welcome to the show. So for those of you who are sorry for the things you've done to me, thank you. I don't even need an apology. It's too embarrassing to apologize for the things that have been done to me. Don't even want it. All I want is some human decency. What I saw it when I was homeless and got on screen. Just a little human decency, you know? Got an apartment, got working. I'm good. I'm doing everything normal now. And regardless of whether or not I was homeless, I still would have been treated this way. But I guess none of us are ever really going to know, are we? There's no way to prove a point when everybody's so busy trying to prove their point. I'm forgiving, I'm moving on, and I'm looking for as many of us to move on as we can together because that forgiveness changes your heart. It's not about me getting an apology. It's not about retribution. It's not about revenge. When we apologize to one another in life and let it go, we are the ones that get better. And that makes all the difference. What the hell does it matter? Whether you make a paycheck, whether you have a fancy car, a fancy house, or even a family. Families can still be hell if we put everything else before our mental health. And you can seek to silence the voices that just tell you the truth. But all you're doing is making excuses to destroy the world any further. And yes, that the entire idea does matter to me. It doesn't make me a Jesus or a prophet or any of those things that people keep trying to synonymize me with to paint a picture about who I am. I'm seriously just here having a conversation and communicating about some bigger ideas that could get people to enjoy a better life. And I'm not, are they monetized? Nope. Ironically, no, they're not, because I'm here talking, and even on YouTube or whatever, it wouldn't be. I'll do gaming, I'll do whatever. But all I wanted to do was help. And what I found out is even when it is true, I really did start to think that people were doubting my integrity because I was making money. And now I've discovered most people they didn't doubt my integrity at all. They were just blatantly ignorant and angry that I was saying things that questioned their lifestyle because it meant other people were dying. It's one thing to go to war to save our country. It's another thing to provoke a war for the sake of domination. And that provocation is something that's been done in my life. I'm not speaking on a biblical perspective or a country perspective. I'm saying that I've had people individually step into my life and provoke war to dominate my future and then call it love and family. That's insanity. And I'm done being baited. I'm going to offer my information my way and with love. And wherever it lands, it lands. And if it doesn't, it's not my concern anyway. It never was. So I care a lot. So I know some of you drown me out or you get narcissistic and you lose your attention span. Well, I was raised by baby boomers and they have very long attention spans, and so do I. And mine has grown even longer. Thank you for that. Last time I checked, intelligence and a long attention span, patience, love, and an ability to articulate the situation on a larger scale are not signs of schizophrenia. But whoever taught you that might not want the best for you. So I'd recommend finding a different source for information. Yeah, well, I could tell you that every single person that told me they don't want my information at the same time were trying to siphon my information. Every single person that told me they don't care what I have to say was listening very intently. You seem excited. I am excited because I love people, and they'll literally drive it to the point of calling it insanity that I care that much. Well, he's smart and he cares? No, those two don't go together. No, it's a broken idea. We don't do that here. Stop that. You're not allowed to have a heart and a brain. You got to pick one. And courage? No way. They don't go together. You got to pick one. This is real life. Thinking takes complexity. Life is simple. The values, morals, and integrity within life, they are simple things. People overcomplicate them. Intellect, process, and planning, those are complex, and they are separate entities. Emotions do not decide logic. And that is borderline insanity, to say that emotions decide facts. They're subjective for a reason. That's the point. I'm sitting in the middle watching everybody from the left and right fight with each other. And I'm just like, man, I wish there was something I could do, but nobody will let me. They're all too busy being extremist. It's like, well, yeah, we all know everybody just wants a war. Everybody wants to fight. And I'm just sitting here like, at this point, after almost a decade, I'm sitting here like, whatever. Okay, everybody just wants me to dance like a monkey. They're not interested in anything healthy. Got it. Stepping off, I guess. I'll just sit and troll on Twitter, and that's it. But I'd like to help. And I'd also like to make friends, but that's damn near impossible when everybody's so busy trying to size up to me. When I'm literally have no money or anything. Everyone's trying to tell me they're better than me. And I'm like, well, it looks like you are. I'm not sure why you're trying to remind me. If you are so much better, why are you wasting your time? A human being is never a part of the problem. And that's the point human beings aren't getting right now. When you view a human being as the problem, that's how we end up with a Hitler. Do you know about his childhood? And yes, I am using an extreme example to explain a point to people who won't listen. There is a million different examples of that in average everyday society. I'm making the point that people like me are the kind of people who end up one of those people. And you guys are so afraid of me becoming one of those people, you almost turn me into one. It is the fear of the creation of something bad that more often creates something bad. than seeking it out to begin with. More times than not, when people try to create something bad, it fails. It is usually when they try not to do the wrong thing, as opposed to intentionally do the right thing, that something bad is created. Negativity and something negative and something bad are not the same thing. They're different. Death is found in a void, because death is not the opposite of life. It is the lack of life. And I want to see everybody be prospering. But they're even willing to throw their money at me to discredit me when they see me emotionally react to $1. Guys, I am being silenced with money. I've been trying to tell you that for a long time. People are using money to shut me up, thinking that I'm not willing to give my life for other people. Well, I don't want to. Why is this going so far? Why are people so concerned with shutting me up? I find that way more interesting than anything else. And the more you fight to buy me, the more I fight not to be bought. I want to be left alone to be able to have the conversations that need to be had. That's it. I will be quiet and listen to you more. If you stop, don't pay me. There you go. Whatever. It has always been about the point more so than the money. Who's trying to shut me up? Well, are you in the comments right now? Look around and excuse my sarcasm. I'm just a little hurt. Excuse me. Just look around in the comments. Pretty clear that the people who would prefer me not to talk don't have to say a darn thing. They got plenty of talking heads for themselves that are then looking for a talking head to get angry at. And the cycle continues. Why am I live right now? Isn't it obvious? How is this not obvious? Guys, you're looking too far. This is my point. You're looking for something that's not there and not looking what is. It's so obvious. No, it's not corporate America. This is my point. This is my point. It's not corporate America trying to shut me up. They would love for me to talk about just what they want me to talk about. It is most people trying to decide, hey, you are just going to talk about this or you're not going to talk at all. You're just going to do this or you're not going to do anything at all. You're just going to live this way or you're not going to live at all. You're just going to go to college or you're not educated. You're just going to go get a job or you're not allowed to have money. That was also a poor example. And my point stands that I'm still getting educated on how to communicate what I'm trying to say. And I just want to get it all at once. I want to get it all out at once. And then I get frustrated. I had a phone call earlier today with someone I care a lot about, and I tried to get it out. And they're so busy being scared of me and so busy building out their freaking plans and thinking I'm an idiot. And people are deciding for themselves that because I have a heart, that I don't have a brain. And they think that my brain would tell me to be afraid, that my brain would tell me to stop. My brain would tell me to stop if I saw any legitimate danger. A lot of you are sold on the idea that there's more to be afraid of than there is. There's not all that much to be afraid of in life. Maybe you just turn on a different news channel. I've blocked that stuff out for a reason. And even now, as I've become way more educated, I watched the news for like for a couple of weeks or a month or two here on Twitter. I was just like, you know what? I'm good. It's just not even worth it. If it's not something that is given a transparent story, good or bad, I'm just not really all that interested in. Because and this is a great point here for me, and this is something that the most beautiful woman I ever met that meant very, very much to me, something she taught to me, something she teaches me every day. Like I said, because sometimes people can teach stuff in our life, even when they're not in our life, is that fantasy has its place. And when I met this girl, I didn't value fantasy all that much. I was like, well, what about real life? because that's how people had treated me. They're like, Jimmy, you're just not being a realist and you're not looking at reality and nah, 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 nah. And I learned that Disney has a place and Pixar has a place and uh, media, media with the goal of entertainment without these endless political agendas and endless financial agendas just to stay on top. Authenticity has been lost. It seems like we're trying to find our way back, but is that reality has a place and fantasy has a place. And if I'm reading the news or I'm looking at a story or something and it's not the reality, it's not the full story, and you can usually tell if it's the full story based on the way it's worded, I'm not really interested. But if I could see myself getting sucked in, I say, okay, well, I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna watch a Disney movie or I'm gonna watch a TV episode. Because if I'm gonna be fooled, I'm not interested. And so at this point, I understand a big, big, big portion of the media industry, at least at face value. I'm not behind the curtain, but I see at face value pretty much as I can ascertain. At least I hope so. And so I'll say, okay, I want to watch that. And then over here, I'll see a news story and it has the full story, right? I'll go there for my information. And we need to be careful not to get fantasy mixed up with reality, because that is when we get sold. And ironically, I'm starting to see that there are a lot of people who have been attracted to my life who are the conspiracy theorists and they believe in all this voodoo and, all that stuff. And I'm starting to see that I may not be like that, but I do see why they come to my doorstep. It's because I do sound very much like they do. And so I get you guys. I totally get where you're coming from. What I'm saying is most of the ideas we're chasing after are rabbit holes to keep us entertained and busy. And it's not worth chasing them because it's at the cost of our mental health. It's at the cost of our emotional health. It's at the cost of our relationships, our friends, our family. And we get so wrapped up in an idea that we lose reality. And as I come back to the Catholic Church and I go back to my religion, that was how I was treating my religion, is that I was extremist about my Catholic religion, and I had not seen that. And when the world granted me the opportunity to be exposed to the internet, whether you call it God, whether you call it society, strings being pulled, or just coincidence, whatever it might have been, this was a blessing because it stepped me out into the world and taught me about how the world works, and that I was being very close-minded. I am not nearly as close-minded as I was before. I have come back to there are many traditional values and many ways of life that are appropriate and do work very well. And so I stick to those. With that said, I have also learned that percentages aren't facts. I've learned about subjectivism. I've learned that an objective view is great, but to get down in the dirt and really see how people work and think and play, it helps to teach the respect of an art. It helps to understand better either thine enemy or just a neighbor. And oftentimes we will define our neighbor as an enemy simply because they're different than we are. And that is a very clear issue in society right now. And it is not one that I am on an opposing end of at all. It has been a learning lesson over these past few years, everything from color to religion to race to sexuality. It's all been a learning experience. And what I've learned is, and it is not narcissistic, is most people are wrong. and statistically speaking, they are statistically speaking off. And that is not narcissistic when you have the data, when you have that outside view. But the inside view really tells what's real to that person. And that is the part that I have been lacking. It's the part that I still lack. And while so many of you are judging me for my lack of perception, recognize that most of you have also left me on the outside, judged me, said, well, you just don't know you're this way, let's kick them out. When I do care as much as I say I do, and you've never really given me the chance. I've never really given you all that much of a chance either. I did try a lot. But guys, a lot of you watched from the background and then decided based on what your friends said or what gossip said. And you still don't know. And even though it may appear that things are decided, You guys have seen people rise to fame. You've seen people rise to authority or power. And I don't know if my life will go there. I'm being humble about that now. I'm not just saying like, oh yeah, it's definitely going to be. But on the off chance it goes there, what about maybe one of you go there? Maybe one of you make it. I would much rather have said, I treated this person well before they were there. Or say if someone dies, say I get hit by a car, or you get hit by a car. I would rather have said that even if I disagree with that person, that I've been respectful to you, at least as much as I can push myself to be. And that's the effort that I'm making to do here with all of you. And also recognizing that I can't just talk comment to comment. It's just that one person. Now, when I'm on Twitter, when you tweet at me, that's one tweet. I'm seeing one tweet. I'm talking to one person. I'm not playing this gang up game while you troll me on Twitter. I'll talk to each one of you individually, and I try to reach out. You try to reach out. Let's see if we can make a connection. If you judge me or it doesn't work or you're too afraid of me, then I have to move on to the next person. That's not your fault. I will come back to you. As my story progresses and things get better, I will come back to you. This is recorded. I know at least one of you are. Mark my words. I will come back to you. That is how I am. It may take years for me to come back to you because some of the actions that I've committed to and also some of the things that have happened to me make it almost impossible for you to trust me in a position that you're in. That does not make me less trustworthy. It means that you do not have the ability to trust me right now with the information you have. And the more you try, it may become more difficult. That is also something that has happened in my life. There have been people who I wanted to trust, and I just couldn't get there because my mind couldn't get there to see whether or not I could trust them. That's also mixed with the lack of information they gave me. Part of the reason you have a lack of information on my story is it is in respect to the privacy of a lot of people, and also in reference to the revealing of the story at an appropriate rate that is the healthiest for everyone. And this will all have to come out. There are a lot of people who are fighting to shut it down and just do the damage, and then they walk away with their money. I'm not on board with that, especially considering my life is the epicenter of the entire thing. But as it unveils, my goal is that there's as little damage as possible and as little court, if not, how about zero for anybody? They call it corrections, but corrections is only needed when people won't get better. It's not holding people accountable and judging them. Well, how about their own mental ability to process what they did? We create a middleman on the account that someone doesn't have the ability to process what they did and get better. And it's like a social show. It's like everybody else wants retribution, but you're not going to the person seeing if they're willing to give retribution. People will call me out publicly or do something for a view or this or that, and then expect me to take them seriously or think that they're really looking for a healthy answer. And then on top of that, they're expecting me to trust that their direct message is not going to end up somewhere else. And that is not trustworthy based on the position of my life or the amount of times that my trust has been betrayed in the past. It's not an unwinnable situation. It's simply a near impossible one that's going to take much more time to reach a resolution. There are a lot of people who are saying, we want our resolution now. Either way, you're not going to get it. If you really want the answers, be patient. I have been extremely patient with all of you. You guys don't even know me. And for the most part, at least the ones that I have spoken with, most of you barely care about me to begin with. Well, newsflash, and something you didn't expect, that is the truth, is I care about you a lot more than you ever thought. I still do. And now I'm putting in the time and effort to figure this out. That way we can all get to that resolution. It is about psycho-emotional health. If you can't tell, it needs addressing now. And most people just keep saying, well, let's figure it out tomorrow. Let me just hop on Twitter. We'll figure it out tomorrow. It has to be figured out now, not today, not later. That's why I don't shut up. Because while everyone else is trying to tell me how it is, I'm saying you're freaking out and losing your mind. I didn't start out losing my mind. And I'm back to getting healthy. This stuff still matters. I was right, but I'm not really right. It's just information that fits the narrative and is appropriate to a resolution. It matters. It'll make everyone healthier. You say you want the truth. I'm going to have to dig up my own truth and take another decade or two to do it. So I'm not complaining about what I have to do. I'm complaining that there are a lot of other people are the reason I'm going to have to take the time to do that. That's annoying above all things, that I can't just look you in the face and say, hey, here's how it is. It really is that easy. But guess what? Due to a whole bunch of other people, it's going to take me decades to do it. You're not going to sit here and put on me other people making videos. And that's where the lines are getting blurred for a lot of people, is that they're out there seeing what they see. You have this much. And that's destroying your mindset. These people are destroying your mind. And that matters. They're using me as a weapon to make you emotionally unstable. Why? Because I hopped on the internet with the goal of being a tool and using the internet as a tool to make people healthier. And so they reverse engineered that and said, let's turn him into a weapon against the people watching him. And that's what they've done. And it's not an accident. There are people that are very smart out there. You profile somebody, you take data points from social media. If you read anything about social media, they got millions of data points. They put all this together. And no, the individual human being does not have a million data points. But before there was social media, there were human beings profiling each other and figuring each other out. And then coming out there and saying, what is the most uncomfortable situation we can create for this person to force him into a position where he is going to commit heinous acts or do something that is going to discredit him and make him disappear. And then how do we catch that on camera, put it where we want it, blast it out to the media, and then we never have to hear about him again. And people tried to do that to me. Motherfuckers didn't know that my father was a Navy SEAL. My mother was a career missionary worker. I have a big heart, a keen mind, and even if my life is over already, I still haven't quit. And that matters. I might not be smarter than anybody. I might be the dumbest guy alive for being on here right now. Maybe my life serves as an example, or maybe I'm just paranoid. I would prefer the second one. But based on the way I'm being treated is the reason that I am so worried and nervous. It is not that like I said, the main reason I even surmise these big, crazy ideas is because of the way people are treating me. It's not like I'm like sitting, writing notes and saying, this connects, this connects, this connects. I'm not doing any of that. I'm saying people are being terrible to me, and I am legitimately reaching out to be there for them. And I know my intentions are good. And I also, like, you want to know what I wrote out is my practices. I'm like, okay, I'm doing this. What's the problem? I went that far to try and figure out whether or not I was the culprit. And I'm not. I've been paranoid because I couldn't believe that people could be that crappy. And I don't think they are. I think we're all hurt. And a lot of people aren't apologizing to each other. And they saw me as a perfect scapegoat. And me being Catholic just puts the cherry on top. So for me, I'm putting it down and I'm doing my best to walk away. At the same time, I have a very big heart and I care about you guys. And I would love to see you continue to get more healthy as I get more healthy. And I'm trying to figure out a way where I can get as much exposure about this as I'm doing here without people feeling that me making a paycheck on it taints it. Or how do I not make a paycheck on it then? That's fine. But if I go and I put my energy into a job and then also volunteering and they're separate, that's not integrating my time. That's not the most mature and useful way to have my time. It's a trick. And yes, some people do that, but because of the mind that I have, it is more mature and responsible for me to integrate my life and find a way to do what I started in 2015. Because in 2015, I was running my channel and volunteering. There has to be a way to integrate either educating the public or, like I said, doing some sort of charity here with this without just telling a tale and leaving people on to the next thing. Because that's all I'm doing. I'm doing nothing with my life, just telling you, hey, here's another story that you can go tell your children while we're all emotionally unstable and running to the internet for stability. I don't want you to be dependent or codependent on anything other than the food in your belly, the air in your lungs, the water you consume, and the family around you. I was raised by baby boomer farmers, and their values have saved my life, along with a whole lot of you. And right now, you're angry at me for not being able to handle the abuse you threw at me, or the reproofing, whatever you'd like to call it. But the things that you've done to me, if they were well mannered, like how do I say this? If you meant to help me, it worked. Let me say it that way. If you didn't mean to help me, it didn't work. So let's all put down the sword and try to find an equilibrium, because you're not getting rid of me. And I know that so many of you have heard my voice for so long. Even if you shut me up, you're going to hear me in your dreams. So I'd rather be able to say new things to you and continue to grow than just be put on repeat, as I have been. And I have been put on repeat. A lot of you don't understand that I have repeated and become that broken record because I was speaking to a lot of people who just kept saying the same things. I'm adaptable, and I was trying to adapt to my audience. And I didn't realize that I kind of brainwashed myself, and I've been looking for a culprit, and I kind of did it to me in a certain way. So anyway. As far as taking down videos on my YouTube channel, it is so easy for someone to make a copyright complaint when it comes to sound bites and it comes to those little loops I was making. So I want to do that, but I was doing it the easy way, and that shortcut didn't work. So I removed all of them, and I'm just going to go without music for now. I really do want to get into music and making videos like that, but it's just not the time right now. I know that I have to just keep getting healthy. If I turn to music right now, I will use it like a crutch, and yes, I will make my paycheck and this and this and that, but I'm going to be complaining. I'm going to be complaining through my music. And I see a lot of people do that, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I have a higher standard for my life. I have a lot more intellectual growth that I want to get through. I don't want to make my pain the purchase point for the average person. That'll just leave me in middle class making $100 million a year and influencing the public. And that's a great option, and that's a great job. And those are people with power. I want authority a lot more than I want power, because I see myself as a very responsible person, regardless of a lot of mistakes that I've made. I was trusting a lot of people other than myself. And now that I'm trusting myself a lot more, I'm making really, really good decisions. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm good. And so with that, I want authority as opposed to power. And if I have to choose one, I'll probably choose authority. Money, it helps get some power, but I want authority more than I want power. It sucks making pain a purchase point. It does. You're probably making fun of me, but it really does. Guys, the reason I talk and talk and talk is that you've hurt me. I think a lot of you missed the point. You don't realize that most of the reason I just keep going, it's not mental illness. It's that I'm scared of you. Like, I did really trust a lot of you, and we were in the DMs and all that. And then boom, you just like flip on me. Of course I'm terrified. I'm not actually scared of you, but I'm like, okay, well, they're still running with this. Is it, everybody's waiting for everyone else to put it down? I'm trying to put it down first, because I know, especially being my platform, I got to put it down first. Did I steal someone's music? Yes or no? No. That's a very direct question, as a direct answer. If you want the complexities, you can ask a more complex question. Strong-arming me and narcissistically abusing the opportunity to ask me a question is very controlling, and it is kind of psychopathic, because it's just trying to take over my platform and get the attention onto negative things. So guys, the next time you see someone acting like that, realize even if someone has the ability to sway power, even in my own life, that does not make them the authority on my life. They're abusing power. And if you don't like that happening, don't give it to them. And you say that to me, it's my own life. I'm being abused on my own platform. And I'm learning how to get more strong and handle that. Regardless, my point is, see something, say something. You guys have seen things done to me for years. Some of you have done it, but so many people are embarrassed. They're just like, nope, it's him. Nope, let's I'll sooner believe this story because I don't want to own what I did. So, such is life. There may be some of you out there that still really believe that you know what you saw and that what you saw is all that it was. It's not how it is. There's a lot more to it, and the context does matter. It is insane to say 1 + 1 = 2, and so even though 2 + 2, well, how is it? 2 + 2 = 4, 2 times 2 = 4, but they're different questions. And what you guys keep asking me is, does 2 + 2 = 4? I say yes. You say, well, then you're guilty. So no, this is a 2 times 2 question. And that multiplication symbol has a lot of context in it. And you're just flipping it to the side and calling it your God. I can be clever all day, but I would much rather use my smarts. I can't really use my smarts when people don't want to hear them. And you guys will say, well, you expel them first. You say it first. I got to feel open. If you're not creating, like, do you open up when you're uncomfortable? You know, just a little human decency, and maybe we get somewhere, but we get somewhere. I'm not the only one in this broadcast. I've always treated it that way. It started with people saying, hey, man, it's your show. Stop talking about us. I start talking about me. They say, whoa, you're a narcissist. We're here too. It's a lose-lose, because that was always the point of just messing with me and throwing me around just because they could. They see that I'm one of those people that makes it, and I'm here willing to talk to them. Like, instead of abusing me, I don't care about fame. What part of that? And the times that I have been like, oh, fame, it really was just like, because you guys are being so mean. I'm just like, whatever. Then I guess I'll go for that. When people are treating me that way, maybe I want fame more than I want you. Doesn't that make sense? When people treat you poorly, that you want to be famous more than you want to be friends with them? I've always wanted to be able to connect with you guys more than anything. That has always been my main priority, and it still is. It's very difficult when I struggle with the communication, you're afraid of me, and then it becomes almost impossible, which is unfortunately the goal of some really bad people, but also the plight of some really good people. I've been learning there's a lot of good people out there that do want me to succeed, because it's not me succeeding. It really is a lot of good people succeeding. I'm just the messenger. And now they're taking the attention off of me. Guys, this is narcissistic. What you are doing is narcissistic. And I've been buying your crap this whole time. You waned me down year over year. You waned me down until I couldn't even think. And then you started to throw your crap at me, and I was falling for it. I'm not nearly that dumb. You literally use psychological manipulation tactics. Starve me, feed me, starve me, feed me. Blow me up, bring me down. Blow me up, bring me down. Give me money, take it away. Give me money, take it away. Hey, he's bipolar. Diagnosis, fantastic. Can't buy a gun, can't vote. And as I sit here, it all happened. It's all recorded on these social media platforms. And right now there's people trying to make sure that it doesn't leave the Pennsylvania state, because if it goes federal, more than likely this gets accessed. And when it does, it's not going in your favor. That's why a lot of people are fighting to keep this quiet, because this was some messed up stuff. It looks bad for everyone, unless it can be shifted in a way that is beneficial to society. It is my pain for the most part, regardless. And I'm the one sitting here saying, let's shift it. I don't need revenge. I want change. It is in my hands whether or not it's put down. People don't get that. It is my voice. And no matter who tries to silence it, well, I'll tell you, I've articulated things pretty damn well the last 6 years. This will not go quietly. And the people who matter do know that. I've left breadcrumbs because this was scary stuff, but I also knew that I didn't really have a way out. And so now that I'm making my way out, I'm saying, okay, well, how can we angle this that is beneficial to everyone, including the people who just want to be left alone? Because there are good people that want to be left alone and bad people that want to be left alone. If everyone gets left alone, guys, we all win. Let's leave it alone. It's not worth it.
And before you think that you're free from it, think about how the negativity has affected your life and relationships. Please do me the favor right now and think back 3 years, think back 3 years and how the experiences you've had with me as the puppet, how that's affected your life. Is it worth it to take this all the way in a way where you get blood? That's being used. Most of the people who are getting all angry and freaking out, they're being used. And there's people even in the upper echelons of media right now that don't even know that they are, because they've made their money and they're so smart and special, and they don't even realize that there is a hand so far up their butt it's using their mouth. Some of you guys know it's happening. I see it's happening. Thank you for showing me. It's none of my business, but I definitely don't want to end up in that position. And I also don't want to be the guy that exposes the guy that does that to somebody. Do you want to be the person that exposes somebody that does that to somebody? If you do, please, you might as well unlock your door, because I have a feeling someone like that is not going to like somebody like you. I don't get involved. I will protect the people that I have the power and authority to protect. And right now, that is me and pretty much only me. And that will only increase if I get a little trust. And trust takes time and effort for most people. It doesn't take much for me. It doesn't. And I'm sorry that I disrespected your need for time to build trust. I didn't need that. And I was also very naive. And I didn't see that people needed a lot more time, trust, effort, proof to get to that. And then whenever I said, hey, how are you doing? And that wasn't enough for you to trust me, I got very confused. I was like, what's the deal? What's the issue? And I have grown a lot since then, but you guys have seen me spinning in circles for years. And so you don't know how much progress I've made. I've learned a lot, but I have been so terrified to say a word to anyone. So I have done my best not to lie and be as ambiguous as humanly possible, lose all context and identity and just disappear just to make sure that I stayed alive. And I made it. At least I think I made it. But here we are. And you don't realize how, saying manic, you're hurting way more people than you know. This is about way more than just me, and I don't have the bigger picture. And I'm not trying to sell you on one that isn't there. If you look at the context of things, the way people are posting this stuff, the way that they're going about it, it started with those particular people stepping in, and all they had to do was leave their little hints, and then that snap, and all of a sudden, just that brush fire. And now everyone else is picking it up. And yeah, those people, technically their hands are clean because they don't really know that it's not true. And then they see the way I behaved. And now I'm very poised and intelligent, which sells the idea even more that I knew what I was doing, because most people live their life pretty much the same way all the time. And they can't possibly surmise that I could have grown and changed this much this quickly. And so it's much safer to assume that I was that smart back then and that I was just faking it or what have you. And I really have grown and changed this much. I put myself through an extraneous amount of pain. I put in a lot of effort with people, and it is borderline unbelievable for a lot of people. And it's a lot easier to believe that I'm just sitting here like a hermit, but I'm not. I'm living my life. And that makes a difference. And I know it might not look like it because I'm sitting here with my hairdo and whatnot. It is because you guys have always been, my life, your life, human life has been the most important thing to me. And that was half the problem. I was not looking beyond just our species. And so now I see that there's alien. No, I'm just kidding. Now I see, because I am on top of my game, guys. I am within my head. I haven't lost it. I know some of you think I'm manic and I just went off, but I haven't. I am this passionate. This is real. This is passion, not mania. Maybe some of you have gone to such a low vibration that you don't believe me, or you can't possibly imagine someone could be this excited for life as opposed to manic or nervous or negative. I have fear and I'm nervous. It is a lot of passion. And that passion is unbarred and without those appropriate boundaries because I've never had the chance to really learn them. And so if I'm guilty of anything else, maybe it's just boundary issues. You can give me that one. It's because I was raised in a situation where everybody was just family. You're a stranger? Well, let's be family. Let's figure it out. Let's, you know, but now I know I'm repeating myself because I said something like this last broadcast. So I'm going to go ahead and move on. Bipolar is negative to me. Why? Do you want to be unhealthy? That's an obvious answer, and you're baiting me. Got it. See, guys, I am waking back up a little bit. I was never that dumb. I wasn't. I had a lot of people spinning me in circles and throwing crap at me, making it impossible to keep my head on my shoulders. But I'm waking back up. Having bipolar does not make you unhealthy. It is called a personality disorder. It is a lack of health by definition. Bipolar is lack of health by definition. David says, hey, Jim, hope you're doing well. I'll catch up later on the replay. Thanks for stopping in, David. Good to see you. Veronica, here's the thing. Yes and no. Because Veronica says, no, that's your mind arguing with itself. It isn't people, blah, blah, blah. So first off, you're mean. Second off, guys, I have been arguing with people for so long that I have begun to have those arguments with myself because I am afraid of you arguing with me. I've gotten so used to you just attacking every idea, thought, thing that comes into my mind, like narcissists, that I'm afraid to even open my mouth. But I don't stop. As far as this goes, though, your mind arguing with itself. My mind is not arguing with itself because first off, I don't have these conversations with myself when I'm off screen. I'm having them with you because I'm facing my fears. My mind is not arguing with itself. There are many ideas. There are many things that you guys have put in my head and things that I have not thought about, talked about, or even gone near before I met any of you. And a whole lot of you have shoved them into my brain. And I am fighting and arguing with those things that you have shoved into my brain to get them out. And I'm getting them out. And as I get them out, I'm finding out in the comments who really has done it, who hasn't, who's willing to put it down, who's not, who wants to make the progress, who doesn't, and really find out who's being fully human and who's being a monster. And I'm not the monster. I'm the least likely one to be the monster. So I'm going forward. Yes, I agree. It is treatable with meds and therapy. It is still unhealthy to have bipolar. It's still not preferable. I mean, if you find having a mental illness preferable, then perhaps seek mental health counseling, because that is, I'm literally even having a conversation about this right now. And I'm having it because I care about you. As you're sitting there mad at me, I know you're terrified of me, but I'm not that bad. I'm not all that bad. I talk about health quite a lot. Well, yeah, it's a big deal. It's clearly, there's been a lot of people along with me for the past few years of my life. Yes, health has become I'd say one of two, other than just, no, it's health. I mean, health is like number one. What, for me, health is, I don't know what else comes before being healthy. It's like the most important thing to me on the entire planet is being mentally, emotionally, physically healthy. I'm still not the best at it, but I have seen how ignoring my health, what it has done to me. And thank you to the people who, without attack, the people who did it without attack said, hey, living in your car might not be healthy for you. Hey, this might not be healthy for you. And I wanted to prove them wrong. And I also wanted to prove myself right. And I definitely could live in my car, and I could do so happily. I could live on the street happily. That's me. What I was taught was what it was like to live like others. Because as people got into my head, I didn't change, but I thought I was someone else. And I became uncomfortable with my living situation. And so I changed it. And then I got more people in my head. I got uncomfortable with that living situation. Then I had people get in my head, said, you have to have more money. I said, okay, I'm uncomfortable with this living situation. I have to have things. I have to have organic lamb. I have to, and these were situations, guys, that some of you were not party to, some of you were, some people were messing with me. Maybe the big joke's on me. Whatever the case, there's a lot of people who may or may not have meant to teach me lessons. I learned them. So thanks for teaching me about you on accident or on purpose. I don't know. But if it was done on purpose, there are some masterminds out there. If it was on accident, I'm a very, very good learner. Either way, it has been rough. But to me, at least, this is only a piece of where things go and a piece of the story. It's mental health, physical health. Yeah, physical health, it plays a role on your mental health, for sure. Okay, it's mean and honest. I learned about that too. It's not always great to be rude just because it's honest. I'm learning that. I've been learning that. Yes, it's great. And I was mean today. I was mean yesterday. It's like you just get so frustrated with people. I can relate to that. You get so frustrated that they just don't get the point. But you can't force it. No matter what, you can't force it. And even if someone wronged you or you're mad at them, taking it out on them like that, it makes things worse, and it does elongate the process and make it more difficult. It draws out everyone's pain. It makes it much harder to get better. Didn't say bipolar is a choice, but glad you're off the deep end. Let me know how it is. I was there once. I thought it was cold and dead and not a great place to be. It's definitely not me against the world. I would not say that. Goes first off, you're mean. I've been mean. I've found out that oftentimes people don't like when I share my ideas. They say that I'm hurting them because I'm sharing my ideas about life, and I'm doing so in a way where I have confidence, and they're calling that hurtful. I say take a chill pill, because in life, especially in that subjective viewpoint, if we want to say that truth is subjective, well, if truth is so subjective, how can then also someone else's viewpoint be hurtful? It's one or the other. Either there is one truth or there's many. If there's only one truth, then that makes another truth hurtful. If there's more than one truth, then it shouldn't be hurtful that someone has a different truth, because we're in the understanding that it's subjective. I'm just calling out the BS on both sides. That's what I'm doing. Oh. Then walk away from this. Why would I'm not, this isn't a this. As you say to me, it's a this. I'm talking to a you. This is my point. People are disassociating from reality and telling me I'm disassociated by treating each human being like a human being and not treating the platform and everyone on it like they're not there. You are here. I mean, you're not physically here, but I'm talking to you. Yes, it's just a screen, and yes, it shuts off. But the communication factor between you and I from this side of the screen to yours is very impactful. And it's being done from however many miles away. That's awesome. And that can be a tool when it's used well. With the advent of this tool, it has not been regulated, and it has not been appropriated for society just yet. There's not a whole lot of rules or regulations put in yet. So it's pretty much the Wild West. How do you get the gold? You got to go and get it, or how do you settle that land? How do you find a new life for your family? You have to be willing to go out and get it. And what I've done here on Periscope and on social media is sought to go out and treat it the way that at least I believe it is meant to be treated in the future. as a typical facet of life, but with acknowledgement of the life that is on it, as opposed to just a screen. It's actually not weird at all that I am not having a conversation about the privacy or life of someone who does not give me permission to speak on their life of privacy. That's called respecting someone's privacy, regardless of your position on that. It's not weird, but it is an attack to try and expose someone else's privacy and use me to do it. That is narcissistically abusive. I had someone in my life throw their privacy onto the screen and drive hundreds of miles to throw their privacy onto the screen just to make it look like I was abusing their privacy and invading their life, while psychologically manipulating me and pushing me into a position of sexual discomfort just to make me lose my mind. Okay? I have had serial killer type personalities in my life. I have had Stockholm Syndrome. I have been a victim to that. I have been a captor while the people weren't even physically next to me, just making sure that every turn I made, that I could not leave their grasp. Okay? That is making me a captive. I was a prisoner without being a prisoner, and told that if I just put the phone down and go work in a factory, that they'll let me go. These are the people who have 99% facilitated even the behavior you've seen from me. And then I fight my way out and I'm considered a criminal. Let's take on top of that. You go ahead and realize that the people making the videos about me and the people talking about me, for the most part, unless you are an average gossiper, are the people who made me their captive without ever stepping foot into my life. Most of you have watched it happen. It is over. I've leveled up. It has taken more strength and tenacity than you could imagine. I didn't give up. And I didn't give up on love. Winner, winner, one day lamb dinner. For today, soup and vegetables. And that's okay. That's okay. This is a great zero to start at. I have zero complaints. I'm very, very grateful. I have a lot of regrets. I also know that if you were in my shoes, you don't know what you would have done. And most of you definitely don't know what was done to me. I don't know what was done to you. I don't know what you've been through. I do care, and I'm seeing now what it is like to be on the other side. I look at people on Twitter. I see what they've been through. I see in their bio, I see this, I see that, abuse this, abuse that. And it makes me become much more compassionate to why they're reactive to me, even before anything had happened or I had done anything. And on top of that is I see in their bio about this and this and that. I say, okay, the normal person would call that person crazy. And I'm sitting in those shoes and I'm saying, whoa, that's me now. I know what that's like. And so I did not see that I was judging. Thank you for showing me my ignorance. I wasn't trying to judge you. I truly did not know how much I was judging you. And so that judgment often comes from a lack of an ability to evaluate the situation. I've also been able to uncover a lot of people in my life who did not have the ability to evaluate what was happening in my life. And some who did, and they were like, man, when will this kid learn? It took a lot of learning. There were also a lot of people who could have stepped out of their comfort zone and built the popularity bias in my favor instead of letting me letting me make choices that I didn't even want to make. But I just knew something was going on in my head and it wasn't me, and I didn't know what to do. And I just knew it wasn't me. That's all I knew. I knew it wasn't me. I just didn't know what it was. And I had to fight really hard to get out of it. But yes, this is my point. A lot of people do not want to accept the fact that we are responsible for one another. Just because there is a box between us, guys, yes, it is your life over mine. I am on board with that. What I'm not on board with is where a simple message of, hey, this is happening, will clear things up pretty quick. It is people could step in even a little bit and they just don't. I've tried to step in for people so many times and they don't even want to hear me because I've been discredited. And people don't often try to build credibility with me. They just simply judge and then tell me I'm the only judgmental one. The world record for continuous talking is only 62 hours? Oh my gosh, could I beat that? You kidding me? I probably already did beat it. Seriously, you're talking about life. Oh, that's terrible. Why do you say that? Do not say those things to people. My God. I'm not. You just haven't realized it yet. Done is dead, and I'm not dead. To the point where I'm getting the question, James, why did you call yourself Jimmy for years? Like, the insanity. Okay. When success is from a place of humility, people start to respect you. That explains why there's not a lot of, you know what, Rob, who has gained success that you respect? Because humility is also another thing that is in the eye of the beholder. Real tough one. What is humble? Ah, boy. I'm not insulted, guys. I just feel bad for you. I really do. Just to believe so many people could be dead inside all at once. The friends and mentors who have humbled me and shown me the respect and trust that comes with it. Well, I will tell you, Rob, I have not had those. And from the start, I was told your reality is invalid, your existence is invalid. Go find someone else. To this day. And they are wrong. And I'm really glad I found out the hard way. You know what else is mean? Disacknowledging someone's existence. It's much better to be mean to someone than treat them like they're not even there. If this is what is on the table that you guys are telling me, this is my point, is I offer heart and you guys say stab, stab, stab. Someone else hurt me, let's hurt him. You're proving my point as we speak. Matthew, welcome on. How are you? My butt is going numb. You don't even deserve to be breathing our air. I remember when narcissistic psychopaths like yourself took me to that level. I do remember when you took me to the level where I actually thought someone else deserved breath less than I did. That is completely insane. I'll be praying for you. Whose air? Exactly the point. Exactly the point. Thank you, Matthew. 100%. Welcome on, Hatse. Here's another tactical, guys, and I will show you how far people really have gone. And then you wonder why I am so skeptical and careful. You call it paranoid. It's not paranoid. It is careful and skeptical for a reason. I do allow for people to take proper time to show me who they are. I don't just prejudge. I was prejudging because I was terrified. I was freaking terrified, and I also didn't have the knowledge. I didn't know what was going on. As I've learned what's going on, I've become much more patient, and I've been giving a lot more time to say, okay, I don't truly know. The probability may be 94%, but I don't know for sure. I'm willing to bank on that 1% if the other five doesn't work out. But here it is a tactic where, hey, let's trash him. And then once he starts to feel emotionally alone, let's use that popularity bias to send someone in who's going to be nice to him. That is something else that they did to me year over year. Is let's get him to a point of emotional vulnerability that he cannot handle. And then send someone in who's going to be nice to him. These are the psychological manipulation tactics that have been used by hundreds and thousands of people on me over the past couple of years, endlessly. And you'll sit here and say, well, you're crazy for enduring it. So I'm more crazy for enduring pain than someone else is for inflicting it. Well, all right then. I'm just looking to be less crazy at this point. I'm just looking for someone to say, hey, you're not the bad guy. Because I'm still pretty sure I'm not, but I'm really confused as to why anyone wouldn't be convinced of that. You have no idea how far I was pushed and how much of a captive I was. It's not an excuse, but holy crap, I was not in my own head or in my own life. And I'm not clinically insane. I'm not criminally insane. I'm safe now. I'm making reservations for my life, growing my knowledge base, getting smarter, building my credibility with those around me, and hopefully a little bit with you. But this has been a full-on attack of trying to get me to kill myself or tell someone else to do it, or get someone else to put me away and make me disappear, literally just for narcissists to tell themselves they're right about me. And you're still wrong. And I will tell you that even if someone were to frame me and have me put away in jail or put institutionalized, there is zero possibility of you ever being right about this. It is still wrong. That's where the story begins, is where we see where the problem is, the admittance of the problem. And so long as you continue to treat a human being like it's the problem and use the word it to describe a human being, you're just saying abortion will get you more success. There's some crazy people in the media who kill their babies and then think they're famous because of it. Okay? No, it's guilt. It drives them forward. There's psychological reasons why they get there. And so I'll tell you as well, don't believe in the conspiracies and don't go off the deep end, because the facts are that crazy people are successful in life right now. They don't need to be respected, just like Rob said. I was never seeking that out. I was very confused about what the hell was going on. I wanted to find my way without ending up consorting with all the crazies, and the crazies found their way to me instead. Now I got rid of them, and I'd really like to go back to a regular life, because those crazies are human beings, and calling them crazies, it's not helpful. But do you blame me for being terrified of them? I had a conversation with a man 2 nights ago who, when he got terrified, came out with a voice of a middle-aged woman, like out of nowhere. Like, and not change genders, not sexism, like full on psychopathy, and then retracted and just didn't even, just like, no, that didn't happen. That didn't happen. No. I've never been more terrified in my life than I was in that moment. And that moment woke me up to, wow, people need help that bad. That moment grew my patience with all of humanity multiple times over. Because you can poke and say, well, I know he's this way. I know this is how it is. I know this is how it is. But it's not until you see someone's core that you really know how they are. And that's where you guys pushed me to. You pushed me to a point where you saw my weakest points. You saw my vulnerabilities. You saw the parts of me that really were corrupt. And that's not fair to say that I'm a bad human being just because you see my corruption and then you say you don't have it. We all have our issues. You're telling me that you can handle my sins better than I can. That you have the ability to manage my problems better than I do, without even giving me the mental, emotional, or physical space to do so while existing in society. That I'm not allowed out of the house, make friends, this, that, unless I do things your way. And if I don't, then I must have a mental illness, and you will poke and prod me to try and find what my issue is. And once you find it, you put me on meds and say you were right. This is the level of neurotic behavior that we have in today's adult society. That's insanity. We are losing our freaking minds. All right. It's not toxic. This is my point, guys. If you call this toxic, me caring, if you call this toxic, there's a problem. You're telling me that the way I'm conveying what's going on is worse than that it's going on. No one else is talking about it. For the most part, pretty much no one is talking about it. You're telling me because I can't communicate it while ignoring every shred of pain that I have been put through, that I am unstable and I am a narcissist. That doesn't make sense. It's an uneducated opinion. Get educated on this subject because I care about you. The problem is that you don't care about me. It is a problem that you don't care about me, no matter what I've done. I care about you no matter what you've done. You don't care about me no matter what I've done. The reason that's a problem is because this is humanity. And if we pick and choose who stays alive and who dies, we're playing God. And if you haven't noticed, we're not all that good at it. Not as good as we think we are. Personal opinion. That's where it comes down to a little bit of narcissism for me. I will own that. Is that it is my narcissism that I believe that we have to care about one another. I guess that's narcissism. Oh well. Then I guess I am narcissistically in love with humanity. Such is life. Does this ever get tiring, Jim? No, not at all. Because it's not a this, it's a you. Remember day one? Hasn't changed from day one. And you're telling me because I haven't changed that that's a problem. When the things you're asking me to change are things that are good about me, that make me different and special, and have me stand out in society in a way where I could bring something to the table. If people become open to change in a way that they don't have to understand, but you're asking me to tell a tale, and for me to tell that tale is going to be for me to lose the value of what I have to give you. And it's just going to make me a talking head, and it's just going to be about money. And then I'm going to lose my heart, and I would rather lose my life than my heart. That's me. Do you think for 1 second you are right and 135 people are wrong? When you take into account the Periscope algorithm, when you understand how the data works and how like attracts like, and how I started off with really good people and just a couple of really bad ones, and then I gave too much attention to the bad ones in the bad ways, and then they called their friends and their friends and their friends. Considering I'm probably in a room that is 98% narcissists, not really all that hard to believe. Just simple facts. Very, very easy. It's 135 people. There are 8 billion on the planet. So I'm not going to decide facts based on 135 people, 143. You get 17 million people in a broadcast telling me that I'm wrong. I'll still tell you you're probably wrong because I know me. So I know me. I know me. Other people do not know me better than I know me. Do I know you better than you know you? I know things you do, but you don't know me. You can know things I do, better than I do, but you can't know me better than I do. You're telling me I did something, and so that is who I am. That's uneducated. That's narcissistic. I made a poor choice. I've made several poor choices, many of them based on the opinions of others, many of them with constant torture and manipulation from others. No amount of screenshots is going to change the facts. It might make them more difficult to see, but I'm beginning to be grateful for any amount of attention I get, because as that paycheck comes, it gives me an opportunity to buy a nicer apartment. It gives me an opportunity to hire a bodyguard. It gives me an opportunity to buy a car. It gives me an opportunity to go to lunch with a friend if I can make one. It gives me an opportunity to buy advertisement. It gives me an opportunity to purchase reputation management services that can shove all of the fake videos into the ground and make them disappear. I'm reverse engineering your own process. I'm waking up to life and how I have been overly emotional about all the wrong things because I was embarrassed that I just didn't know already, just because I care so much. My feelings don't justify my thoughts. I didn't know better. I felt better. I still feel better. I love you all a lot. I just didn't know how to do it well. And I'm still not the best at it. Give me 2 decades, give me 3 decades. But you're looking at me and saying, well, you're not there now. You're not allowed to go there at all. You don't decide that. Society as a whole decides that. And I'm putting myself at risk and at their mercy. It's not suicidal or narcissistic. It's trusting. I am trusting the system. I am trusting my God, and I am trusting you. Because trust, love, commitment, it's going to help build society into the future that I believe society is trying to build, one where we're more connected and where we do have as much connection as possible through these phones. Even if we miss the human factor, we give as much as we can. I have a vision for that future, and I might not be building that future, but I'm doing my best to be a part of it and set a good example as to how it can be worth it. Now, what happened to me, and the things I've done, it is pretty new. It's not number one, or I mean, it's not perfected or even, I was essentially an experiment in that process, and I definitely won't put myself into a position of being an experiment again. I didn't necessarily know I was. A lot of you knew I was. I figured it out. I won't do that again, but I've learned my lesson. I've grown a lot, and I'm hoping that I'm not just buried because I'm willing to just move on from it all. I get that there's some people that's just how it's done, but seeing that there's levels to it, I'd really like to make it to the next level, but I'm not going to lose my voice just to level up because my freedom is way more important to me than money or power or influence, because money, power, or influence they're not the same as authority. And right now in my life, I have the master authority, and I can see that everyone is looking to me for my story at this point. And they really are. Like, they'll say that they're not, and you'll say that you're not in the public, but I can tell by the way people are talking to me now as opposed to then, is that I do have the authority in my own life. And a lot of people are jealous of that as well. But if you want to have the authority in your own life, just stop trying to take it from other people. You don't get authority by taking authority. No one cares because your story is no bigger or better or bigger than anyone else's. Here's the thing. That's the point, is that it's not. You just exposed the problem for me. Do we not see it as a problem? That my story is not bigger or better than anyone else's? Like that what happened to me and the things that I've done are the standard, are average? No one has an issue with that. I do. Personally, I do. Always did. I am free. I appreciate that. Not necessarily just yet. Not necessarily just yet. God is bigger than the boogeyman. That's right. It's the only reason I made it out. That's the main reason. Do you think he will look back and thank us for waking you up? I already am. Do you not hear me? I'm sorry. See, I do. But this was built into me. Like, these are behaviors that I learned from other people. They're not my personality. This snarkiness, this like like, it's not me at all. It's not, there's nothing wrong with that. However you are, whoever you are. But what I'm annoyed with when you see me making fun of it, I'm annoyed with myself that I'm not being myself. I've very much been someone else, been someone I'm not. Who? I don't know who the hell I was, but not me. I've also found out that no matter how much we try to maintain our own mindset, it still can be taken from us. And that's a scary thought, is that other people can take over our life and our mind and all of it, even without our permission. That's pretty scary. I didn't believe that. I did not believe that. I believe it now. I am very thankful that you woke me up. I really do hope that it doesn't cost me any extra time, money, effort, love, whatnot. I'm also upset that there are people who believe that the way they went about waking me up was appropriate. You know, is the narcissistic way to wake someone up is slapping them in the face or throwing something on, or maybe making a prank that's not welcome. I made it very clear that that wasn't welcome to me. And, you know, just like the way I grew up is like, well, too bad, this is how we do it. It really would have been nice if people would have been more tender and courteous with me, because there are people in my life who I do need to, and I'm still working on being more courteous and tender with. And it does work. You know, it doesn't work with some people, it does with others. And I have been that snowflake. Now, I am no longer that snowflake. You can throw at me whatever you need to, but I'm not thankful for being toughened up because of what it cost me. I'm not thankful for that because of what it did to me as a person. And sometimes we need to see that although the tough way and the hard way, they do work. And I've learned this, and thank you for teaching me too, some of you, is the hard way does work, but it's not the only way. There are easier ways to teach people. And school isn't the only one. And neither is just the hard knocks. You know, maybe we find a little in between here and there, or like an integration of it. Am I ready to go back to college? I don't see college in the cards for me at all, nor going back to regular life. Like I said, what I see for myself is spending the next couple of decades building this out and really facing you guys and just letting it be that way, learning how to handle this and not be so upset about it, like learning to manage it and not accept the captivity, but find a way to make it as healthy as for me as I can. I do have a lot of pride, but I also have a lot of humility, and I accept humbly that I put myself in a position that is almost impossible to get out of right now. And so I will live this way and do this with you and pay back my debts and work things out and try and make right what I can. And then hopefully I can move on to some new way of living that doesn't involve all of this drama. Unless, like I said, unless I continue to become educated and I think that there's something more that God needs from me or you guys need from me, or but I've also seen men and women fall for this idea that this savior mentality, this big fish in a small pond situation. And you can hate me or say whatever you want, but I'm a big dude. And America is not big enough for me. I love my country, but I'm saying it's not going to be enough for me to satisfy me for my need to serve and give and build my family. It's not going to be enough. And so as I get to that point, I'm going to have to ask myself, am I in the small pond? And I know about myself that it's not big enough for me, but I'm not that big yet. How could I possibly know that? Because my process has been both accelerated and pulled back at the same time. I've had a peer through the looking glass, you might say, into other situations in life, people who make more than me or this and this and that, and people who have more wisdom, people who have more money, and seeing those people, I know that my life has a lot more to offer. I just don't know if that's the direction that it's going to take. And until I get there, I can't really say. Can't really say. But the second I say that I'm doing great, and the second that I say that I know who I am, all caps hit the thing because it's narcissistic denial. It is just there's no way you could possibly be worth anything. God forbid you think that you can do more than me or different than me. I am going to go in all caps and attack you like a narcissist and then say that I just don't know or this or that. Guys, that's narcissism. Your all caps attack, that is called narcissism. Regardless of your level of understanding, I'm not saying that I'm against my country. That is insane. I'm saying that I love my country. I'm not saying I'm bigger than my country. I'm saying that with all of what my country has to offer, it's still not Italy. It's still not France. It's not Russia. It's not China. And this is the part of America that a lot of countries outside of us can't stand, is this bleh, this insane level of narcissism as our country is 200 years old, that so many of our citizens believe that we are the end all be all and we're the only ones that exist. Guys, this is insane. Like, you got to calm down, especially if America will continue to grow. If we are going to prosper and be that power, we are in our infancy. And you guys are losing your crap just when I say that America isn't the only thing that exists. I'm an American. I'm an American citizen, and I've had my qualms, but I'm back on track, and I do love my country. But we are not the only country in the world. And so, regardless of the country, when I say America is not big enough for me, I'm talking about everything from the land to the economy, all the way to, every piece of it. Is if you just believe in America, that is actually an un-American idea. Whether you like it or not, that's blowing up in your face. You don't want to hear it, but that's how it is. It is un-American to say that America is more important than every other country. Do your homework. America is the most important country in the world to me because it's my country, it's my homeland, it's where I was raised. A true American is an explorational person, someone who wants to go out and see what else is out there. That's how our country was started. That's the point I'm making. Whatever you're hearing beyond that is whatever you want to hear, and my lack of ability to communicate with you what I'm trying to communicate. But it is an important point. Our country is a country of immigrants. Keeping them out, bringing them in, whatever the case, we were started anew by adventurers. I want to go travel. It's an American thing. It's what we do. We take a boat, months and months, and a whole bunch of people die on the way just to go start the country. I want to go and I want to see the rest of the world. I'm grateful for what my country's done for me. I'd like to go take my American values, my American dollars. I'd like to go to other countries and spend them there. I'd like to share our American values with other countries. And I would also like to bring money I make over there back home. It's an American thing. And you're mad at me for being an American while telling me that I'm not being American. That's completely delusional. Simmer down. I'm simmering down. I get offended when people offend my country. I don't like that. Guys, this country is the only reason that my family lineage has not completely died off. I've done my research on my own family. I wouldn't be alive if it weren't for America. No, just water. No coffee. Water and a whole lot of passion. Water and a whole lot of passion.
Bobby McNasty goes, where are you from? I am from Pennsylvania. Where are you from? I will not join for a rescoping. Probably not. It's not appropriate. I don't appreciate it being done. And the reason why it doesn't even have to do with the negativity of it. It is, I have definitely learned the value of privacy and ownership of copyright. And I've had that abused heavily. And I was just putting out music and that didn't work out. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I'm being such an idiot. Like, it's not even what I want. So I really appreciated people did start respecting my content and my privacy as content and privacy, as opposed to just taking it for yourself wherever you feel like, just because I'm not punishing you or like you're narcissistically trying to get my attention by stealing my content. And because, that's the insane part is I used to think that people were stealing my content to make their own channel and get attention for themselves and make money. Because I couldn't fathom that people would find it more important to piss me off than make money. That's insanity to me. That someone would spend more time pissing me off than making money. Or just, live a normal life too. That's, a different angle, I guess. It was outside of my grasp. I could not grasp that. Ever consider doing a parody of yourself? I don't have to. I don't have to do that. We got plenty of people out there for that already. Can I use your name in a scope title for numbers? Yes, I'm that shallow. That's less shallow than just stealing it. I will say no. Guys, don't be picking on each. Please don't. This is what gets it. It's not my business. That's right. It's not my business. That gossip is not my business. That's the part I need to get here. Is if I want people out of my business, don't get in theirs. Guys, I was trying to help, but nobody asked. So, okay, got it. Learning. I'm not trying to make money on Scope. I'm not trying to make money anywhere. If I make money, I'm lucky. This has always been the point. The agenda was never money. The sales and the marketing, that's a job, guys. That's what you do at a job, is you make money. That's how it works. This is a job at the end of the day. You matter to me, but it's still a job. How do you make your paycheck? When you're a salesman, what do you do? But I don't have to lie to make my money. That's why I like this job. I can make money just talking and telling the truth and talking to people. That's why I like it. And this is what they're trying to get me to talk about. But it's not that bad to talk about. And this is the point that the people, I don't say stupid people, the bad guys just don't get it. It's not bad to talk about money. It's not defaming to talk about money. It's not. Money does not inherently say someone has bad intentions, and anyone with half a brain knows that. And no matter how much someone sells a story, the truth is still the truth. And as long as I maintain my patience and integrity, it's not going to matter so much what other people have to say about me, good or bad. People will come to me to know my story. And that's been my goal the whole time, is to be able to just have my own narrative. You're telling me what's going on in my brain. That is not sitting there doing nothing. First off, I am doing something. I'm talking to you. That takes effort, takes breath, lungs, brain, thinking. If it doesn't for you, maybe there's a problem. It costs effort for me to talk.
especially this much. You hear me having to take deep breaths and thinking you're something. Well, what's something? I'm not. No, I'm not a something. I'm a someone. I'm a human being. I don't think I'm something. I'm not sure where that came up in the conversation. Maybe you think less of yourself than human. And so you see me seeing myself as human, as though I'm thinking I'm bigger than I am. And I don't see myself as anything more than regular. That's the standard. Why am I in the dark at 8 p.m.? It's not. It's like 6. It's later for you. Guys, why would you do this to me? Guys, anybody watching right now, I want you to know this is how they do that to me. This is what they're doing to me. And this is what you guys, as you sit and watch, you just let it happen. She just asked me the time to figure out the time zone I'm in for no other reason than to find out what time zone I'm in. And then if I bring it up, I look paranoid. This has been happening to me for years. And then they'll stay silent in public and pretend like it's just not happening. Do I know that this particular person is doing that? I don't. But I am bent out of shape. They know that. They also know that that is a way that could get me paranoid, get me upset, get me worried, get me bent out of shape. This is the point, guys. They're using the gray areas to attack me and then sit back and they're not doing it. It's narcissism. It's narcissism. Even if Perry is innocent, this is what, okay, when you have a blob of human beings that mush together to be one solid internet unit, they will go together with each other to do things, and then they'll all back out and as a populace say, hey, this isn't happening or I'm not doing this. That is evil. And while you think you're getting away with it, I kid you not, the internet is watching. The internet is watching. You're not accounting for this. Your Facebook, your Instagram DMs, Periscope, Twitter, all of this. There's a lot of government projects. As I get into the subject, I tell you because I care. It should scare you into being like, maybe I should be more careful. There are government projects made to siphon this information. Like, while you actually think that you are privately fooling me, every one of you, and not 166 of you, I'm not saying that. I'm saying anyone who does think they're fooling me right now. Oh my God, like, how can you be so dumb to completely destroy your own life thinking you're a genius? Guys, I'm actually a genius. It's just if I die, I lived a good life. Okay? I'm irresponsible. You think you're clever. There's a difference. I'm just irresponsible. You actually think what you're doing is smart. I don't think what I'm doing is smart. I think what I'm doing is average. I'm rational. That's healthy. I have a healthy rationale. What I'm doing is just average. But you are hiding things from me, thinking that because they're hidden from me, that they're hidden from every single avenue that they go through. That isn't word of mouth. And even word of mouth, there's a microphone on your phone. It's not about paranoia. It's about how the world works. You know, it's simple stuff. It's not that complicated. I want to help people. I want to educate them. I want you to be like, hey, everybody's watching now. Maybe you change. Maybe adapt while you still have a chance to, instead of just sitting back and pretending like they don't already have you profiled. It's not a paranoia thing, and it's not a worry if you just grow up. If you just stop pretending like you're going to get away with what you're doing the rest of your life, you'll be okay. I'm actually innocent, and 99% of what you accuse me of isn't true. The government knows it. That's kind of how this, you see how I'm still a free man? That's kind of how it works. Yes, there is the possibility. There is the possibility that I'm being encroached into a corner. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. You might be right. I am putting my faith and my confidence in my country and in my church. And I'm saying, I'm going to be okay. I've made my mistakes. I'm making retribution as best as I can. That is seen through my messages, through my content, all the above. Mistakes here and there, average, regular stuff, even smaller than the average influencer. As they collect and aggregate this data, I'm praying and hoping that they're on my side. I don't know that. You're right. I don't know that. But the belief that they're the bad guys and they're running your country and that they're on your side and you're safe, that should be even more cause for concern, not confidence, because it's shown throughout history that empires like that fall. And I'm pretty sure we are the good guys. I'm pretty sure that we're the good guys. So if you are getting away with the crimes that you're committing, you guys came to me with this skeptical viewpoint and these conspiratorial views on me. I had never thought about life that way in my whole life. I had never looked at life so complexly. I had never looked at anything like that. You know, why would I? By your invitation, I did. And I actually found stuff. And now you're expecting me to just share it with you while you're being terrible to me. You didn't ask, but I do care about you. And although I can't just straight up say stuff, I can tell you that it is a very, very wise idea to start being much more responsible in the background. And I do have the authority and the right to say that to you, because I know that a lot of you are doing stuff that is not going to work for you in the future. And if you can't tell, I care a lot more about you than I do about views or my paycheck or the money. I'm proving my integrity. I'm proving how much I care about you by saying this to you right now. I'm saying there's more going on than you know. There's more going on than I know. How do I know that? Because I have learned about a whole bunch of stuff. And I really did think I had all the answers. I thought I had the answers. Now I have more. That is proof that there must be more. So I keep looking. Guys, if you're right here scapegoating me, you are officially distracted. I'm just pointing it out. I think it's important to find the bad guys, find the good guys, and also figure out who the mediators are. Because unless you know who the mediators are, you can't really tell whose side you're on. But I have a lot of people in my life right now telling me that I'm the good guy or the bad guy, and they don't even know who the mediator is. Just making a point. It does matter. Mediation for what? Well, when you go to court, you have a mediator. The mediators in plenty of different parts of life. No, I'm coming to a point where I'm having a conversation about entertainment that is also real. Because I have become to the point where I'm so blown away at people's denial of reality that I'm just entertained by it as I sit back. I don't find it funny. I'm not a narcissist. I'm not enjoying it. I'm just baffled at people's blatant ignorance and denial of what's happening around them. So I just sit back and say whatever. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I don't get drawn into it. I literally just sit back and watch. There's nothing I can do, and I'm not going to get sucked into it. So I'll sit here and talk to you guys while no one listens. And I'm actually okay with that as long as I'm safe. You guys aren't realizing that me being painted as ill is in my favor. I literally get the opportunity to sit here and say whatever I want, and no one takes me seriously. I have my freedom. I'm not ill, and some people think I'm ill. That means that I'm not going to be credible in society. I don't see that as a problem if that's the option I have to take. If my two options are make a difference in this world and then someone cuts off my head because I said something about their back office deal and the world thinks I'm nuts and I just have to sit back and mosey along, The second one sounds preferable to me because I'm actually alive a lot longer. And I'm also in a position where it's not my fault that I can't say anything. What are you trying to say in one sentence, please? I'm trying to say I care about you. I've been trying to say it for hours. No one's getting the point because they don't care. They want people to stop caring about them because they think it's going to get them what they want. It's called a false reward system. It doesn't work. It builds narcissism, which then builds an idealism where you're a consumer and then all you want to do is buy things to feel better, including human beings, which is called slavery. And that goes all the way to Hollywood. It's so simple. It's senile, like it's infantile crap. And people treat it like it's the biggest thing in the world and some big secret when literally I thought it was the biggest deal in the world too, like 5 years ago. I thought it was such a big deal. Like that's this conspiracy and spooky. And then I figured it out and I'm like, oh, this is whatever. Like this is common crap. It's not even that special. It's just there's some crazy people out there and our country's brand new and they've been getting away with it. And now they're getting caught. There's nothing more than that. It's nothing more than that. And people are looking for extra and there's no extra. It's just the end of an era, a very unhealthy era. But that you see me getting disconnected, disinterested, because I talk about this stuff and nobody cares. I talk about you, nobody cares. No matter what I talk about, if it matters and it's not about shiny things, most people don't want to listen. Unless I'm talking about shiny things, no one's interested. You can file it into whatever claim you please. I'll see you in court. Doesn't make you right. You're just using statistics to say that my facts aren't true because they're less probable. There are facts based on probability, by the way, because the probabilities sit on top of the facts. That's the social filter. The questions are getting harder. Yes, they are. And I like the challenge. I like the challenge. Do I partake in demonic behavior? No, that is to me over the top and rather unhealthy. Let me say it that way. Let me say it as respectfully as I can, the powers that be. It is something that I do not partake in, nor do I condone. It is, thank God, it is not my job in life to purge it or do anything about it. I've learned that. I've learned my place. But it is not something I personally partake in, no. Court adjourned, he goes. Hey, that'd be nice. I prefer that than actually going to court at all. Is my biggest fear Capian? No, my biggest fear is that I've pissed off the wrong people so bad that it's going to affect more than just me. And it hasn't. You could say it has, but I mean, that's just social stuff. That's my biggest fear, is that I've just rocked the wrong boat. And guys, also realize is when I'm rocking the boat and when I rock, like this isn't rocking the boat. This is just literally, this is stuff that no one would believe anyway. So we're safe. When I was talking about stuff that was a little less, that was actually more dangerous for me because it was believable. And talking about the believable stuff is dangerous to my social health and other forms of health. And so I've shut my mouth about that and I just mosey along. But I don't go on about it anymore because when I was going on about it, guys, I didn't know that people knew. I was infantile about it. I saw on the internet, everybody was talking and talking, and I saw people being rewarded. for exposing things. I saw people getting rewarded for exposing corruption. And in my brain, I had not yet ascertained that the information is revealed in a process that is much bigger than us, right? It's not just the news. It is like it's a full country. To run our country, come on, you're telling me that it's just some guy sitting there pressing buttons. It's a complex and intricate machine run by people much smarter than most of us. At least, no offense, but I'm assuming, that they know what they're doing a little bit. But that's called trust, and I trust my country. But I was talking about things that created a rift in places that were disruptive to the plans of others. And I didn't realize I was doing that. I was just trying to do the right thing. So I've learned to be much more quiet about stuff. And not, like I said, don't get into things that aren't my business. I am not a flat earther. People try, the more I grow in my life, the more people are trying to figure me out. And there's nothing to figure out. I'm a really simple guy. I learn and then I trim the fat. I learn and then I trim the fat. I learn and then I trim the fat. Like I only keep what makes the most sense. It just takes a lot of time and a lot of learning and a lot of research. And then whatever doesn't fit, I was just like, no thanks. And it's not just fit what I agree with, but I do pay attention to society as a whole, or at least the parts that I can see, and say, okay, is it working? Is this thing that I now agree with, this thing that I do like, is it working for other people? And if it's not, I'll be like, I might like this, but it clearly doesn't work. And I know you guys might say that I haven't done that. I was that far behind. I was very, very far behind. So I've made it pretty far, and I'm starting to see what works, and I'm going with it, as long as it keeps me out of trouble and is I can still sleep at night. That's where my demons hide, the courthouse. I've never been to court, and I've been to court like once or twice in my whole life, and it was just out of foster care, and it wasn't for crimes. It was just like regular hearings. And to me, to this day, it is a scary place. And I know more than likely I will end up there someday, either over money or over a disagreement or what have you. But it's a place that I do like to avoid. But it is a place that I will go if need be. I'm learning to face experiences as opposed to just run from the ones that I'm scared of. Like I said, is facing my life, and here with you guys, you've helped with this a lot, is being able to face experiences that I find very difficult. And you guys have helped a lot with that. What can we base things on other than statistics and evidence? Facts. And there are facts, and we can call them facts because they worked for thousands of years, like gravity. Now, do I know for sure? No, I didn't live 2,000 years ago. If we want to go that far, we can say, oh, well, we don't technically know if there was a planet 2,000 years ago. How do we actually know? Were you there? How do we know that the stars in the sky aren't like just a reflect? How do we really know? You don't. I don't. I mean, do you? Maybe you do. But are we really going to get that technical? I would prefer not. But gravity, I'd like to consider gravity a borderline fact. Maybe it's not. It's also, by all technicalities, a statistical thing, because by all technicalities, a planet could come close to us that has more gravity and rip us off the Earth. But that's not happening. So there are moralistic facts in society. There are, throughout the history that we know, there are certain moralistic standards that work in society that statistically prove work. And even if, whether history is real or not, and don't think that because I'm willing to question that I am questioning it. My willingness to question history is not the same as me questioning history. It's not the same thing. I'm saying I am willing to question history if evidence were presented that could open up an argument about whatever is in question at that particular point in time. I'm not saying that I think the stars are falling from the sky. It's a very different conversation. So regardless, yeah, is when it comes to evidence and facts, I will believe in gravity, and there are moralistic standards that have worked over multiple thousands of years, and there are certain Epicurean standards that have proven to destroy, monopolize, and topple governments, people, and even entire races. So I'm a careful guy. Yeah, I'm pretty careful when it comes to calling something a fact. Like I said, I like to trim the fat. See, here's here's the difference between whether or not